Oh my god, you guys. Just, oh my god. This, there, do you remember when I put up the video for the finals of Let's Play Yu Yu Hakusho? As in everything but this match. And that was hard. I had to cut out, 5 or 10 minutes from that just to keep it, you know, short enough to view. But I had to cut out 5 or 10 minutes is the key word here. Because it was a really hard set of matches. And that the finals, it went up on That Guy with the Glasses, late at night, on April 31st, I think. That sounds right. Okay. So you might be wondering, why did it take me 2 weeks to put out the final match? Well, I'll tell you. I sat down and I tried to beat this guy for like an hour every other day or so when I got the opportunity to sit down and play this game. I couldn't do it. You're gonna see here, this is all footage from today. Today of me fighting this guy. And I spent much longer today because I was like, that's it, fuck it, I've got an extra space, I've got to put it up tonight. So I'm gonna spend as long as I can. I spent 2.5 hours today trying to beat this guy and I couldn't do it. So, yeah, you're gonna get to see the end. I won't say how or why you're gonna get to see the end, but you are. But you're not gonna see me beat him without cheating, let's put it that way. Alright, so this is the final match between Toguro and Yusuke. It was a pretty long, as I say, it took me hours and hours. It's a pretty long match in the show itself too, but before we talk about the show, I gotta explain what I'm doing here in the game, because it's gonna look very silly to you. So yeah, as you may have noticed by just watching that, this is... Oh, you know what? I was wrong. This footage isn't from today. This is footage from when the very first time I tried to play him. This isn't the first match that I went with him, but it was after I kind of figured out what my strategy was going to be. I will tell you exactly where the break is, where it's just footage from the tail end of today, which was the 2.5 hour playthrough. But this is from me fighting him on like May 4th or something like that. So yeah, the strategy I'm using here, you may have noticed, I never get close to him. I never try to punch him, which is a shame because Yusuke is great with combos and, you know, fast button mashing action. You're gonna notice that all I'm doing is just running away from him like a little puss and shooting at him. And the reason for this is you cannot get close to Toguro. You will automatically lose this fight if you so much as try to get close to him. You think you can guard, you know, you think you can get a punch every now and then and just keep guarding? No, no. One of his combos will hit you, and once he hits you once, he goes into this 11-move combo, the kind that's absolutely impossible to actually pull off in the game, and kills you. It's ridiculous. It would be, now this would be okay. This is where the really shittiness of the game really starts to actually hit you, is when you can have a match this hard. I think you can totally have a match this hard in a fighting game if your controls are solid. If you're gonna notice me doing some weird shit in this, and it's because the controls are kind of wonky in this. Like I mentioned before, they're sticky. Like you press jump, it may not jump for about 2 seconds. You know, maybe it's like, oh, I didn't hear you right. You said jump. And so you look at this shit right here. Oh my god, that's what happens to you. Anyway, so the difficulty of this match is not a problem. I think, like, if you had a game with solid controls, very fluid, extremely responsive, you could have a match this hard and it would be rewarding and it would make sense. It would be really hard, but you could do it. But the problem is the controls are so sticky in Dark Tournament that, you know, like, even if I wanted to employ the strategy of just keep the fuck away from him, jump in the air and shoot him up from overhead, or occasionally kick down if you run out of spirit energy, I can do that, right? Oh, also, you'll know, yeah, this is definitely from an early day because I forgot to crouch while guarding at all times. I just guard, and if you don't crouch at the same time while guarding, so his low kicks can hit you. If you crouch while guarding at the same time, nothing can really hit you unless he decides to shake the earth or something. Like that! There we go, there's the shaking the earth thing. But he does that at a distance, so if you're up in his grill, crouch and guard, you're usually okay. But not for long, you're already there, so the minute you drop that crouch and guard, he kills you. So the general rule of thumb for this match is you cannot get close to him at a time. Yeah, this is definitely from earlier because I guess I just picked the wrong footage. But I guess it's good that I did because you're going to see a difference between my strategy now and my strategy later. A slight difference. It's the same thing of just keep the fuck away from him and shoot him. But, yeah, I changed something later that I can't believe I wasn't doing here at first because it makes total sense. But anyway, so yeah, this game is a piece of shit, and this game, you could have a match this hard, it wouldn't be so bad if the controls weren't so awful. I'm going to talk about the show now. In the show, this match lasted for about 4 episodes straight. I'm going to say 4 full episodes. Maybe there's a little bit of discrepancy in that, like maybe somebody's like, oh no, it was 3.5 or whatever. Well, the fallout from it and the lead into it was so big that I think it was pretty much 4 full episodes, even if you cut out any slight recap they had there. And, it didn't really seem too long. They were, like, I love the Sensui arc, don't get me wrong, but there were moments in the Sensui arc where I felt like they were dragging it out. They were compensated for by the fact that, Sensui, as a character, was so much fun to watch and was constantly changing. Like, you never really knew what he was going to do next. But the actual, like, tick-tock, time is running out, the demons are going to come attack the world, that went too long. It was like you could tell they were padding. The Toguro fight didn't really ever feel like that. It just sort of felt like this was a really awful, grueling fight that these two guys were engaged in, and it was just going to take a while. And they gave each other weird breaks at times for... I think I included the clip. Yeah, in my top 25 favorites, I included the clip where they're fighting, and he's about to, Toguro is about to punch him in the face, and it probably would have broken Yusuke's neck, and he stops and he says, why are you looking at me like that? And he says, why are you judging me? And it's interesting that he stopped in the middle of the fight. It's like, Toguro has him, he could kill him, but he wants Yusuke's respect, which is really interesting. Toguro himself is a very interesting character. I guess I'll talk about his background here for a minute while he's attempting to beat the shit out of me. See, I'm right up in his grill here, and I can't do anything but guard because he will kill me. And I try to back away as fast as possible. Because you just have no other option. And, so Toguro's character, I don't think I have much time left here because it's going to switch over to, the future of me fighting him instead of the past. And, okay, there we go. Here's the thing. You thought I'd beaten him there? Nope. He gets a full health bar. Yeah, look, he just grows muscles and gets a full health bar. So that's the first time that's happened. You're going to see that happen a couple more times. But so I essentially have to beat him twice with 1 life. It's really sad. So anyway, Toguro the character. I'm going to get to this. So basically, he and Genkai, the old woman you see there, were training mates. They were sparring partners. They were buddies or whatever, and then they even got to be romantically involved. And so Toguro kind of looked the way he does now, only a little less wrinkly, a little less firm and hardened. His muscles weren't as nasty looking, but he looked a little bit more like a normal guy. But other than that, his appearance hasn't changed much. Well, what happened to him was, when he and Genkai were training, were friends, he was always afraid of his own mortality. He's like, you know, no matter how strong I get, no matter how much I train, no matter how much I practice, he says, I could be the strongest person in the world and just fall over dead the next day from, like, a heart attack or just, you know, bad luck, anything. He says, so what are we doing this for? And so, you know, he's that kind of person. He's thinking a little bit too much about it. And Genkai is just like, well, you know, we use our powers and abilities to improve the world the way we see fit. Now, Genkai is not a superhero. She's quite self-serving. When she says that, she's not like, for the good of the people we use our powers. It's more like, you know, we have this power, we might as well live to the fullest with it, kind of thing. And Toguro doesn't see it that way. So they get involved in this dark tournament. They're one of a human team that's brought into, you know, and for the first time, the human team wins. At least the first time I think they have on record. And it's, Toguro, the ones that survived were Toguro, his brother, and Genkai. If there were anybody else that survived, they didn't mention it. Okay, here is the skip to the future. You may be able to tell what... There we go, you see what I changed? I started strafing in a circle around him at all times. Instead of just backing away, I just go in a circle. Sometimes changing direction when he figures out which direction I'm going. Because he will actually figure out and start to follow you, and it's like, oh shit, we're going to meet in the middle, he's going to kill me. So there we go, that was what I changed. Over a couple days of going, you know what, if I go in a circle... Back to the story. It's still not going to work. I'm still not going to beat him this way. Tried. Really did. But one askew blast, one thing of running out of energy, one thing where your controls aren't responsive enough and he just rushes in and kills you, and it doesn't matter. It's like you have to get a dozen lucky hits in him, and he just has to get 1. That's pretty much how this fight works. So, back to the story. So Toguro survives the match along with his brother. You've seen his brother, and they each get a wish that would be fulfilled by the Demon Council. And so Genkai's wish, she's endured so much crazy, awful tragedy in this tournament and seen how sick and creepy it is, and she says, my wish is for you to never involve me in this tournament again, with this demon contest, anything, ever. And so that was her wish, and that was easy to fulfill. They said, okay, fine. They said, good, that's my wish, you know. And so Toguro and his brother, however, had the same sort of conceit of, I want to be invincible, make me immortal. And so they did. His brother, you saw how immortal he is. He's basically human silly putty. That's how they kind of engineered him. And Toguro was made into the demon of the highest caliber that money could afford. Now, there are demons that are stronger than him, but they're so strong that they are at the bowels of demon world and can't come up to the surface world or whatever. They would break all space and time or whatever. Though that becomes the focus of the next arc. But he's about the strongest capacity of demon that you can find on Earth. He's, what is it, high B level? Yeah. There's S, A, B, C, D, and E, maybe E. Yeah. So he's high B level. It's about as strong as they can get him. So you see, he's impossibly strong. So it got to a point where he had become immortal and everything, obviously, but Genkai was repulsed by this. She was like, wow, that's creepy, that's disgusting. And it also, because he had demon blood, he wasn't human anymore. They made him a demon so that that's the endless life sort of thing going on. Because they can make him as strong as they want, and it's just like his normal conceit or his normal worry of being human and dying eventually. So they make him a demon. Genkai decides, wow, I'm not in love with you anymore then, bye. And so he becomes bitter. There you go. And that's pretty much the story of why he invited Yusuke to the Dark Tournament, is he sees Genkai has an apprentice, and he says, you know, I'm going to kill off Genkai to prove that, you know, just because I'm jilted, that's why he killed her pretty much, he was jilted. And then as for why he fights Yusuke, why he's so fascinated with Yusuke, there are multiple reasons. Like, there's actually a speech, like, Koenma has a speech where he delves into the reasons why Toguro would have done what he did. And, like, there's myriad ways to look at it. And he basically ends by saying, I guess we'll never know. But the ultimate fallout of this match, and what people think is the reason Toguro started the match, it's not the reason that his sponsor started it, it's not the reason his brother was in it, anything. It's just his own personal thing. As I think he wanted to kill Genkai. He was done with her. He was repulsed that she had rejected him. But he also knew it was wrong. He knew that his life was kind of empty. And he wanted to be killed by her apprentice. But here's the thing. That's a really big cliche. I think, as most people know, they hear that and they groan. You know, it's like, oh, come on, really? Really? You know, so this was just a guilt thing? Not really. He's not a good guy. He's not going into this to die. This is not a Spike Spiegel sort of thing going on here. He, God, that's not okay. Look at that shit. Why? Okay. So, I'm going to talk about Toguro here in the credits, but as the motivation as to why he did what he did and what I mean by fighting Yusuke to be killed by him. But I'm going to stop here because this is the point at which, I think after seeing myself get hit 10 times after I was already dead, I went, fuck it! So this is what I did. Obviously, I had beaten this match once before when I first got this game, which was several years ago, back when I had time to play games for hours and hours, and I didn't really hear it. And I was like, I've got to put this up today. So I'm scrolling through the, I'm just going to let you watch this. I'm not going to cut this. This is me scrolling through here, looking for, like, theater options. There are a lot of games that have, you know, things where you can play back the movies of, you know, when you win a match, when you lose a match, that kind of thing. And I was like, well, maybe this one has one. So it's not going to be in controller. Let's look in game. Okay, I don't see anything. Went to sound. Probably not in sound, but I can check. Cheats. Did you see that? There was a jump between the clouds. That was me discovering there was a cheats menu, peering very closely at those little faded out things that are the cheats, and going, which one of those can I use to beat Toguro? So I was like, okay, fine. I can't play the ending movie for people, but I will beat Toguro by fucking cheating. So I looked up the cheats online. That's what that little jump cut was there in the clouds. That was me putting down the controller and looking up online. So yeah, you're going to see me beat Toguro by playing with no damage and infinite spirit energy. And I don't care because I spent so many hours trying and I was like, I don't fucking care. I beat this guy once many years ago and that's all that matters to me. Because I remember the ending movie. I'm like, I remember how this ends and I remember it's kind of a cool ending. Like, one of those things that you could tell, again, that they loved the show and they put a lot of effort into kind of making the ending kind of cool. So, yeah. Here we go. Going back into the match, and so you'll see I just have infinite health here, infinite spirit energy. It's very easy to beat this guy. I use not the typical technique that I use because I knew I was invincible. I was like, I'm going to use whatever attacks I damn well feel like using, just for fun. So, yeah, that's what I did. So I guess I'll talk about the game here. I'll start talking about the show again when we get to the ending animation and credits and stuff. So, yeah, you're going to see me here using... Yes, first I'm not using anything. I'm like, what do I want to fight this guy with? I can use anything.